Hello everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. I'm going to talk about a few fintech stocks. They all look kind of the same right now. This is the Ichimoku Cloud weekly chart. I'm going to talk about 5 stocks here. AFRM, you can see that it's got a breakout back above the Ichimoku Cloud. Got what I call a katana building up. I've been making videos about katana recently, so you should know what I'm talking about. If you don't, please go back to the video that I made last. These things generally are pretty powerful, and if the price is above it, and the price is above the Ichimoku Cloud as well, generally it means that you have more upside going, and it can go on for quite some time. It doesn't mean that it's going to go in a straight line. There could be some consolidation here and there, but it generally means that it's just going to go up probably higher from here on out. So you got a firm looking like this. You got Shopify basically having a very similar look. Broke back out inside the cloud, above the cloud, and right now you got a katana here playing out. Robinhood kind of got a little bit of katana here, but it's not a perfect katana. It's like a half-hearted katana, but regardless, it's the same concept. It's looking very bullish. PayPal had a perfect katana breakout and expansion of the Tenkan Kijin. And the one that doesn't really quite have the katana for the fintech space, and you can clearly know that it's lagging behind, is Block, or SQ, formerly known as Square, but it's got a breakout above the Ichimoku Cloud anyway. Right, so there are all these fintech stocks are looking pretty decent. Now, the question is, are they overextended? Do they have to correct down in price? Do they have to come back and touch the cloud before going up higher? All those are very, very tough questions. What I gotta say is right now, they don't look bad. I think the lesson is the majority of them are kind of somewhere between like a resistance and support, and they're kind of trying to battle their own demons, if you will. The issue right now, I think, is price has been going up on a little bit of a bearish divergence. It's been doing so for really the last 2 months or so for AFRM. Let's talk about AFRM first, right? If you're going to talk about AFRM, it does have a little bit of a RSI trend line here. I do think that a little bit more impulsive price action would probably be needed to really push it back to where it needs to go. But right now on the weekly time frame, as well, even on the monthly time frame, again, like just going back to the Ichimoku Cloud here on the monthly, it's not yet formed. It's over here, but you have price, or you have on the bullish Tenkan Kijin cross. Whenever the blue crosses above the red, whenever the leading crosses above the lagging, generally you have a bull trend. That's really, like, you don't really need that to tell you, because you can see that it's really developing a bull trend. But these things have been serving as flipping from resistance here into support, right? Whenever you flip some higher time frame moving period averages or moving averages from resistance here to support, generally some pretty nice bullish things should happen after that. Now, that's the case for AFRM. That's the case for Shopify. That's the case for Robinhood here. And for PayPal, you don't really quite have the cross quite just yet, but it looks like it's wanting to do that. And Square also had already had a bullish cross and has also gotten above the Tenkan Kijin. So the only one that hasn't really had a cross is really PayPal here out of the group, but even PayPal is looking more and more bullish. The other thing to look, I'm basically just bullish on the entire sector, right? 20-month moving average pointing up, back tested it for AFRM. Shopify, 20-month moving average pointing up, back tested it. Hood, Robinhood, 20-month moving average, got close to back testing it, not even quite doing it. This is how bullish Robinhood was. It just got front ran. PayPal has broken above the 20-month moving average, right? And Square, so far for the month of October, is also managed to really break above the 20-month moving average here once again. All of these are turning positive, and they are all looking pretty decent moving forward. Now, let's look at the market structure in terms of kind of think about what to expect from these stocks moving forward. I generally like to look at market structure on the weekly. I'm doing it the great Matt Speedway with the log Gans chart here to start with. I'm going to make sure my Mac deck is on. I'm going to click on the low price here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a multiple of 45, which is going to be 180 for the duration, and the ratio of 1. Do you get any beautiful market symmetry? Yes, you do. What is happening right now? You see ARCs as resistance, ARCs as resistance, and whenever you break through, the firm tends to run pretty hard, right? And you have a resistance of the ARC over here that got broken through, Not only did it break through the arc, it gravitated to the 45-degree angle, and actually it managed to kind of get above of it. So right now, today it had an 8% down day. What did it do? Well, the weekly just kind of came back down and back tested the 45-degree angle. And this candle over here so far for the week is not even halfway of this previous very, very bullish candle, right? This is a pretty impulsive bull trend, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not really sure whether or not the market structure is telling us that it's going to stop anytime soon. I think it's probably going to end up wanting to gravitate up to this arc over here. And this arc over here is going to be maybe around 50 or so. That's going to be some pretty confluent of resistance up here for sure. And it might end up going sideways here for the rest of the year, even though you would think that there's going to be a post-election pump, things like that. Who knows? Maybe it just flies up. Who knows, right? If it flies up, then it's going to get to the next arc up here. I don't think it's going to hit this arc up here, probably not until maybe at least like mid-2025. But I do think that a firm's going like to like 90. I do think that's going to do that sometime in 2025. None of these are deterministic. I just think that there's a chance for it to do that. Now, look at confluence. Where are we at right now, right? We are trying to break above a very important Fibonacci level, which is 0.786. We kind of closed the week above that last week, a little bit of false breakout here. This week, got rejected, came back down, back tested arc. That's it, tested the angle, right? If it's able to break above the 0.786, there's a good chance it's going to push through this high and just hit the next Fib level, which is 1.618, around $71. There's also a chance for it to hit the 2.618. Now, I do think that ultimately, it might take a couple years, maybe even longer, to hit the 2.618, but I do think 2.618 is going to hit sometime over the next like 2 to 3 or 4 years, somewhere around there. And the issue so far is we have to break above this current zone over here before we get there. But that's okay. We just have to kind of take things one thing at a time here. And overall, this is still a very bullish market structure. I do think that most likely it's going to end up making another higher high here somewhere, somehow. But you're going to hit a lot of resistance up here. But that's okay. As long as it makes a higher high, it can come back, even right down the arc down here before pushing up to the next arc. Maybe even break underneath the angle over here. And then just kind of get back to the angle over here to the next arc. And that's still going to be a pretty significant amount of gains, right? Or you can just ride up the 45-degree angle and hit this zone over here, right? After you're big about this resistance here. Now, am I going to buy a firm? No, I'm not buying a firm right now. I bought like here. I'm not gonna buy here. That's just the nature of it. But do I think that this chart is overall bullish if you give it enough patience? Yes, I do think so. Shopify. Do you have any very similar market structure here? The answer is yes, right? If you do a Gantt curve from the bottom over here, and you do 180, you're basically going to see a very, very similar market structure. All these fintechs kind of look more or less the same, right? 180 with the ratio of 1. And what are you going to see? You're going to see a very, very similar market structure where it just basically kind of backtests the arc down here, backtests the arc down here, and it's trying to get back up to the 45-degree angle. So far, last week we closed 2 weeks above the angle. But this week we got rejected down here, and we also got rejected at the arc as well. So we are hitting some pretty important resistance levels over here. And this is also confluent. If you look at the monthly here, this is also confluent with the monthly Ichimoku cloud. So you're hitting some pretty major resistance that are coming up pretty soon. I don't know whether or not I want to really like buy here because it's getting to some pretty important resistance here. Regardless, this is still a bullish chart. I think it's going to break through the Ichimoku cloud somehow in some kind of undetermined path. Nobody really knows which path it's going to take. But I just cannot bet against this katana here. I just cannot bet against this katana here. I think it's going to play out. And I think it's probably going to end up expanding. And it's probably going to maybe ride the angle up to the next level. I think it's going to hit triple digits in sometime in around 2025. If not, sometime around 2026. That's where I think Shopify is going. Now, Hood is a pretty interesting stock. It looks extremely bullish, by the way. And I'm happy again here doing 360 to 1. And you can see that it is given some pretty remarkable market structure here as well. Right now, in terms of Fibonacci retracement, I'm going to have to use the previous all-time high here from the IPO to the bottom here. And if you do it this way, you can see something here. You can see that it has broken above the 0.236. And right now it's just kind of range bound here at the arc. Where do I think price is going to go? Well, let's see a couple of things here. Let's look at the RSI. You have price kind of going up here on bearish divergence, although this bearish divergence is also happening in the context of having a RSI breakout. So I would not count against Robinhood here. Could it push through the arc like it's butter and just go up to like $30? Possible. But I can also see a scenario where it just kind of right down here on the arc here, and maybe even touch the confluent zone over here at the 0.236, back test it a little bit here, back test the angle over here, and also back test around the arc, which means that it might end up going sideways here for a few weeks before pushing through and hit this zone around 30. And when it hits a zone around 30, if it's not going to be any significant resistance, so you're talking about really going up here to this arc, which is going to be the high 30s, which is a pretty tremendous gain from where it's at right now. But would I expect to kind of push through right at resistance without backtesting some of the stuff over here while you're going up on bearish divergence? Probably not. Am I going to buy Robinhood here? Probably not, because I've already bought down here. It doesn't mean that I'm bearish on it. It just means that if I have money right now at this particular moment, I'm probably going to want to put it somewhere else just to kind of help diversify my portfolio, and also to put somewhere else that actually has also a very, very bullish looking chart, which is PayPal. PayPal is looking very bullish here with the Titana. PayPal is looking very bullish here because it's just now entering the arc up here on the blue side over here, and it's also got back above the 45-degree angle. So all of these are pretty, bullish things. Now, if you ask me where PayPal is at, is it hitting some pretty important resistance zone here? Well, let's see. We'd look at the Fibonacci level here. On the GAN, it doesn't look like it is. On the Fibonacci, it doesn't look like it is either. It looks like probably wants to hit around $85 or $85.6, somewhere around here. That would be like the first Fib level that it could hit. If you do a logarithmic, chart here, it already passes 0.236 here. So there's potential room for it to even go up higher. I do think that it's probably going to hit the top of the arc here. You know what's stopping it from doing so? What is stopping it from doing so is not the weekly Bollinger Band. Weekly Bollinger Band looks extremely bullish, by the way. It looks like it just wants to keep expanding, allow price to go up higher. But what is really stopping from doing it right now is the monthly Bollinger Band. The upper Bollinger Band has served as resistance, and that's not a bad thing. I think it's just waiting for the upper Bollinger Band to expand. This is a very, very nice bull trend now developing. This is like beginning of bull trend here. I can see PayPal potentially being an extremely good investment over the years to come. And I can see PayPal going to outperform the S&P 500 by a lot over the next coming like 5 years or so. I can certainly see that. The monthly RSI is not really that overheated. Like, it's not even at 50 yet. It's like incredible. So I do like Hood. I do like Shop. I do like the firm. I also like SoFi. I own all of the above, but I might be chipping in. Like, if I have money coming in and if I have to throw it in somewhere, I feel comfortable throwing like my paycheck money to buy like 1 or 2 shares of PayPal here and there, just as an investment. Like, I'm not gonna, I don't care. I think it's just gonna outperform the S&P 500. And at some point, I think this is a very good risk-reward ratio. Can it come back down to back test some of the levels down here below to kind of solidify things before push up higher? Certainly so. Right now, we're still waiting for the monthly Tenkan and Kijun cross to happen. So we're not quite there yet. There's still potential for it to come back down to the mid-70s, maybe high 70s to kind of back test the zone over here. Maybe even goes down lower to 70. I think it's still a possibility of this happening because you never know what kind of crap that the market maker is going to throw at you in terms of narratives, and it's going to get everybody all scared. So I'm not going to like load the boat here. The other reason I'm not going to load the boat is because the volume has just been kind of declining here on this uptrend. So I feel like there's probably going to be some kind of correction that's going to happen. And we also add a Bollinger Band resistance, right? So regardless, I'm still bullish on this. I feel like wherever you end up buying here, you might have some additional volatility that's going to happen down here, but I don't really care. Like, it's just one of those things that I see this as a good risk-reward ratio. I don't really care, right? It probably is going to chop around here, maybe back test to high 70s as a 0.236, entirely possible, right? or maybe it gets back to the arc. But I do think that over time, it could just kind of ride along the 45-degree angle and just kind of go higher to triple digits. I do think that's probably going to hit triple digits in the year 2025, which is not a bad amount of gain compared to other stocks that you might be in, right? It might be a little bit too slow for some, but remember, if you're going to get into something that's going to be fast, you can go up one way or you can go up the other right, really, really quickly, right? There's no guarantee, but I do like the way that PayPal is looking. Now, finally, I just want to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room here, which is Square. Square has been extremely underperforming. It has even underperformed PayPal, which is painful. Now, does it mean that it's not bullish? No, I'm still very bullish on it. If you just look at a greater market structure, it had basically just cut through two arcs up here, got rejected at the top arc, came back down, back to the arc here. Looks like it's holding. Looks like it wants to grab it back towards this arc over here at some point, right? And I do think that in the future, if it's able to pass through that, somewhere by, maybe around like 2027 or something like that, it's probably going to hit around the same level as previous all-time highs, somewhere around here at the 45-degree angle. I totally see that happening, right? But it's lagging. There's no doubt that this is still very much of a lagging stock. And if you do again here on the more recent price action, if you just to make it 180 here, and if you make the ratio 1, which you're supposed to, you can see that it has also kind of broken above the arc over here, right? Just like it has also broken above the Ichimoku cut. It's breaking above resistance levels, and it's going to end up grounding back up to around $78, which has been a pretty strong resistance zone here for a very long time. And I do think that this is a big, giant accumulation area here. So I do think that there is entirely a possibility within 2 or 3 years it's going to challenge the previous all-time high here, just because a strong accumulation here has been happening. Now, when I was having my big cat account, like with like 20,000 followers on X, I keep getting these like weird posts. I was trying to like chart SQ, and I basically timed the bottom over here. By the way, I thought it was going to be the bottom area, so I was freaking out. I just didn't know that the consolidation is going to last like this long. I really thought it was going to break back about back test and it's just going to go. But yeah, the entire like last 6 months was kind of a little bit completely unexpected here. But the last 6 months, you got a very, very beautiful head and shoulder pattern here, ish kind of thing. So I do think that it's probably going to go up higher, and I do think that whenever it does end up doing that, it's going to be pretty powerful over the next couple of years. But yeah, it's just been happening. But when I was having my old count, I think I was trying to say is they're talking about how this is a big giant head and shoulder, and if they're calling it the big giant head and shoulder, I guess the target is going to be somewhere in the negatives. So basically thinking like the company like this is going to go bankrupt. I don't understand these TAs. I'm just gonna make a comment that they apparently exist, and I'm just gonna like move on. So anyway, do I have a position SQ? No, but whenever I want to buy something, I think it's best to buy something that has better, bullishness at the beginning, like a firm, right? Better bullishness in the beginning, like Shopify I was buying over here. Better risk reward ratio at the beginning, like Robinhood I was buying over here, right? And in PayPal, I'm trying to buy over here, right? SQ, I feel like I still have maybe a little bit more time. So if I feel like I get tired of PayPal, if PayPal is ran a little bit too fast for me, I might look at Square and see how the technical goes by then, and then kind of take it from there. But right now, I just feel that I want to enter PayPal, both in terms of valuation and technicals. Like this is a little bit of like a no-brainer for me to maybe like buy a share or two every week, just maybe for like the next 3 to 6 months. We'll see where it takes us. I would probably hold off on buying this if it ends up hitting like the triple digits. I'll probably end up like just not buying that anymore. But yeah, I do see this as a pretty decent risk-reward ratio here. So anyway, thanks so much for listening to my thoughts on my the 5 fintech stocks I haven't talked about recently. I already talked about SoFi. I already talked about Upstart. So yep, that's what I think about the rest of them. Anyway, have a good night. Bye.